This is Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this podcast series is called Spiritual Immersion, Taking the Plunge. And the intention of these podcasts is to support and empower you to be with what's uncomfortable with yourself, what's challenging, what's uncertain, what's unknown, what's scary, what's approaching, what you're having to be with that you don't want to be with, where you feel powerless and hopeless and in despair. It sounds like a fun podcast, doesn't it? But the truth is we all feel those things. We all, being part of being human, as part of our, the existence or existentialism of being human, is that we are in these elements of life that provide moments of despair or uncertainty or powerlessness and hopelessness and helplessness. It's just part of what is. And at the same time, these moments of powerless, helpless, hopeless can be moments where we decide maybe we can look at things differently. Maybe if we change the way that we believe, that we think, that we see, perceive, maybe we can turn things around. Maybe if we ask for support from our higher self or from our higher spiritual knowing, whether that's God or Jesus or oneness or universal source or our angels or Shiva or whoever it is that you go to with prayer, asking them for support, asking them to see things a different way, that could be really, really helpful. When we lean into the having faith in something other than our consensus view of reality, in having faith in something beyond fear, that's where things start to get kind of interesting. So recently, actually for a very long time, I've been listening to and focusing on how our bodies can heal themselves, in a sense. As Joe Dispenza says, there's an energy, there's something that created our bodies, and that energy is within us. And if when that energy created us, it also created the ability for us to heal ourselves to a very large degree. And when we disempower ourselves by saying, no, I can't do this, somebody else needs to fix me, I'm hopeless, that despair creates more negativity and more unlikelihood that we will come through whatever we're facing, physically or emotionally or spiritually or mentally. So I've been listening to and you've heard me talk about Radical Remission by Kelly Turner. Radical Remission by Kelly Turner. She talks about what the 9 things are that people use to have a radical remission, to cure themselves from cancer. And Joe Dispenza talks about, and Bruce Lipton and Deepak Chopra and Greg Braden, many, many people are talking about the biology of belief, that what we believe, we create our reality, not only in terms of our circumstances. Our belief system totally creates our circumstances. I have no doubt about that. I mean, I'm a transformational coach. I totally get that. But the degree to which it influences how my physical body is, that's hard to take on because of the enormous pressure, the enormous presence of Western medicine in the United States and the pharmaceutical company and all those kinds of things. So it's enormous to go against the pressures to be on Medicare or health insurance, all of those kinds of things, which for me, it doesn't necessarily make sense because I believe in natural healing. I believe in our ability to heal ourselves. I really do. And that if there's a need, as in infections or in broken bones or accidents, things like that, where I need Western medicine, I'm all about it. I'm very, very grateful that it's there. But when it comes to stress-related diseases, which is basically 99% of what we go to the doctors for, I want to heal my own stressors. I want to get through my own challenges that make me sick, that disease, that creates disease. Excuse me. So one of those things is, so I've been working with Joe Dispenza's meditation from his book, You Are the Placebo. And it's a meditation which asks two questions. What beliefs don't work for you anymore? That is the way I'm saying it. What beliefs do you want to get rid of? What belief doesn't work for you anymore? So like the belief that I'm a victim to life. I'm a victim to the politics of the United States. The belief that I'm a woman and I can't succeed and be wealthy beyond measure. That's not something I want to hold on to. I want to hold on to, or I want to also let go of the belief that I'm not safe being me. So those are things that I want to let go of. And the other question he asks is, what beliefs do you want to take on? What do you want to believe in? And I want to believe that I am not at the mercy of the politics. I'm not at the mercy of anyone, that I am empowered. And I also want to believe that I'm safe being me in all the ways that I am. So things like that. So over the last few days, now you don't know me, but I am not one to meditate. I don't like meditating. It hasn't worked for me, I'll say it that way. In terms of just sitting in quiet, I get very disrupted. And I'm very good at contemplating. I'm very good at sitting with a book. And you've heard me talk about oneness or Course in Miracles, where I sit with the material and I really, really, really take in what it's saying. And I do a lot of journaling and writing based on what I'm reading. It's been exceptionally helpful. So taking on the meditation of Joe Dispenza's is a big deal for me because I don't do it. And it's a whole hour. And so that's a commitment, real big commitment, because I need to be that committed. Why do I need to be committed at this point? So I have I'm trying to say this in a positive way and in an empowered way. So I've been experiencing skin cancer for probably 40 years, 50 years. And I've had it on my face and my nose and my back. I've had my legs and all over the place. And I realized that unless I change something, unless I see this not as this is cancer and my dad had it on his skin and I'm going to have what he had, that's a belief system that I don't want to buy into anymore. What I believe is that I've taken on some interpretations and beliefs that are the source of this cancer. I have 8 brothers and sisters, and none of them have the kind of cancers. They don't have the degree to which I have it, and where that I have it on my face. And so it's like, why is it that I have this and they don't? Right? That's a good question. And certainly I've been in the sun a lot and all, but it's like, so have they, those kinds of things. So when I'm looking at this question, what are my beliefs that no longer work for me? It's just an interesting perspective to say, I mean, even if you have cancer and if you need support from Western medicine through surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, it's still a good idea to be able to say, okay, so what is the source? What else? How can I also support healing myself in this process? How can I support my body in healing itself? And this is what Kelly Turner talks about in Radical Remission, is the 9 ways that we can support ourselves in healing ourselves. And so it's been a very, very valuable journey to be looking at what's true for me. And I come up with all kinds of things. I mean, there is a cancer personality. There is. And I kind of fall into that. Some of that is being a victim or disempowered. And this is something that's bigger than me, those kinds of things, as opposed to being empowered, not in victim mentality, and really empowering myself to change what I can change. And that includes my belief system. I have total and complete rule over what I believe, and I can change them anytime I want. And so can you. But one of the interesting things I came across yesterday, last night, is that it just so happened that physically I was born into a pretty attractive body. As a kid, I was seen as being really beautiful, and I got a lot of attention for it. And I was always uncomfortable with it. In fact, I felt a lot of shame when people would my parents would say something or whatever. People would talk about how beautiful I was, and I felt shame and humiliated about that. I don't know. And also, because my brothers and sisters didn't have that kind of attention, I also felt bad because I was getting attention they weren't. And I wondered the other night, did I decide I needed to punish myself or somehow disfigure myself in order to bring justice to the situation, that I had some beauty or something that my fellow siblings didn't have? It was a really interesting question, and there was a part of me that went, yeah, why else would I create, things on my nose? And I had a major cancer removal under my lip, which was, as the doctor said before he did it, he said, that's going to disfigure you, don't you? And it was like, oh my God, was terrible. So I'm not disfigured. I'm still a human being, and I'm more human being every day. But those kinds of questions, like what are those beliefs that create the dis-ease that we live with? What are the beliefs and the interpretations we make about ourselves, even as little children, that are so unconscious we don't even know that we're living into it? So, part of that judgment, or not judgment, part of that punishment element of me has been, I think, well, it's certainly something I want to look at, because even if it's, 5% or 10%, it's a significant influence in how I see myself, not in a positive light, but in a negative light. And I want to get rid of all of the ways that I see myself in negative ways. Like, what's the point of seeing myself in negative ways? What's the point of you seeing yourself in negative ways? Because 90% of it isn't even true. But we hold these truths. We hold them as truths. They're not truths. They're just beliefs or interpretations. Somebody might have said something to you, and you just believed it, as opposed to going, no, that's not true. So the point of all of this is that there's a source of your dis-ease, and the dis-ease causes our disease. And the more that we're aware of that, the more that we become empowered to make a choice to see it differently and then be it differently. And that's, to me, tremendously exciting. That's why I listen to Joe Dispenza and Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton, those guys, because they're all saying the same thing. They're saying it from the point of science and research of what's really possible these days, which we didn't know before 20 years or even 10 years. And what our consensus view of reality is resisting, because it's scary to learn to believe something new. But that's where we're at. We have this capacity to shift and change ourselves in ways that we never knew existed before. And that's what I want for you, is to be empowered to start to look at these things and gain courage, cultivate the courage to see things the way you want to see them, as in good and positive. So enough ands and enough uhs, and I will leave you with that for now. All right, big hugs. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.